Hello everyone, आप हैं रिया के साथ on Mana TV International. You can watch us live worldwide on YUPP network and can subscribe to our Facebook channel and YouTube page as well. Welcome to yet another episode of Healthy Habits. There is no doubt that our eating habits have changed quite a bit during pandemic. One significant difference was reduction in eating out at restaurants. Now that COVID rules are loosening up, we all are returning to our pre-pandemic eating joints and habits. Unfortunately, eating at restaurants is often a recipe for unhealthy eating. Overall, about 70% of fast food meals and 50% of full service restaurant meals are of poor dietary quality. Then, in that case, how can we resume eating out and continue to focus on our health and fitness goals? तो चलिए दोस्तों, बात करते हैं आज हेल्दी हैबिट्स एंड ईटिंग इन रेस्टोरेंट्स पर। हमारे साथ है डॉक्टर प्रतिभा फाटके गुप्ता। वेलकम प्रतिभा, वेलकम बैक ऑन आवर शो।
Thank you, Ria, and thank you again for inviting me again for this beautiful Mana TV International show. I'm very excited about it for discussing today.
So Pratibha, as you all know, we all are so excited going to restaurants again. Last year was like stuck at home. Though we learned good cooking skills, but yeah, now going out to restaurants is definitely interesting and exciting. But what do you suggest? What precautions to adopt in pandemic while we go out to the restaurants?
There are a lot of things to consider, Ria, in the current times, because sometimes we are not aware of what is happening right now. And if you see in current last few months, the things have changed also related to pandemic, and also some guidelines have changed, and some of the schools have been opened. So there are a lot of more, people around you now. I mean, 6-7 months ago, when the schools were not open, the children were still at home, and no buses, no traveling, and it was still like in less, right? But now, because of too much of crowd everywhere, if you see that, and children are getting affected as well. So when you select a restaurant, so it should not be as a fun time. It should be a more disciplined way of going to restaurant, which means that whenever you go somewhere, make sure that you are, if you make a health and safety guidelines, then you follow, which will be good for you for a proper, proper style, basically. So sometimes what happens if you're not feeling good and if you want to eat restaurant, choices are no. If you're not feeling very well, if you're having headache or something minor thing, very uncomfortable, try not to do it, because you never know what symptoms can come up for you, right? So just make a wise decision, things like that. And also, sometimes if you're choosing a restaurant, make sure you call ahead and ask the policy changes in your restaurant, because sometimes people may have changed, though, restaurant styles may have changed, or maybe the guidelines may have changed. So it is better to ask the restaurant people what to, if there is anything changing, whether they have to make any, other options, something like that. And also, you also should be following your local laws and local guidelines, because every state, every city has different rules and guidelines, so you follow that as well when you go to restaurants. So, and some people offer certain different things, guidelines, rules, regulations. So, and also you have to really, respect the individuals, like restaurants' rules as well, because of the fact that every restaurant has their different rules, right? So you can be arguing with them. So that's how you choose the selection there too. And I encourage, I know some of people may not, agree with that, but I prefer to wear a mask all the time. You never know, whoever it is, but just for safety precautions, if you wear the mask, at least you are one way ahead, and in a prevention, things like that, And when you go to the restaurants, I think you probably maybe a little bit should be patient. For example, in a pre-pandemic time, you may have ordered the food and you want to be ready right away, but now staffs may have changed. Maybe there are lack of staff and the restaurants may not be same way, serving you that they used to do it. So be a little patient, be more kind enough with the servers and things like that, you have to make sure your decision that, something may have changed in the procedure and and all of these things like that. And again, one more thing I'm going to caution you and also all the audience of Mana TV International is that when you are in the restaurant, sometimes what happened, we used to have a habit of opening the door for others, if you recall that. I would prefer not to do it anymore, because you never know who is coming in, right? And
Yes.
who has a mask or not, who has other conditions. So try not to do that, because you will be very mindful, be as much as away you can be from other people. That would be better. And again, as soon as you enter the restaurant, I believe you should go and wash your hands before you even start anything, ordering food and things like that. So at least you have some way of protection. And again, social distancing, of course. If you have a group of some people that coming with you, then you should make sure that you have maintain the social distancing as well, a little bit far off. And if you're waiting in the line, should be having that too as well. So and also you should follow the flow of the traffic as well, right? So you don't have to be clogged everywhere. If there is a restaurant is too much crowded, better
Right.
not be there, right? So also, and control your behavior too. That is a very good etiquette in the restaurants, because things have changed. So try to be protecting that way as well. And ordering, when you're ordering the menus, and make sure that you're ordering the menu based on your, again, lifestyle, right? So choosing the best options, and also not to be in a hurry. Don't be in a hurry to eat the food, because you are there for enjoyment purposes, and not like a regular purposes. So enjoy the food and have the food according to your lifestyle. And choosing the food that is not greasy, not very heavy duty fatty substance in there, and something that can utilize very easily, you can eat very well and digestible. Because believe me, not trust me, Ria, nowadays what is happening is that food poisonings are very common nowadays,
Mm-hmm.
because of the pandemic. Anything can happen, anything can happen. I never know how people can react, how people can, you can never guess while you're eating there too. And there are some table manners as well, right? So sometimes people do think table manners are very important. Of course, even in the restaurants, the table manners are very, very important. And I prefer think about that. When you're eating in the table, make sure that you can stack up your plates and put the things away, just like, so that when the server comes in, they can take a grab and go kind of thing. Don't mess up with the
Mm-hmm.
paper towels. And it looks very ugly when you're eating the food. It looks very ugly, so make sure you have that. And then not to forget, like saying thank you, things like that kind of thing. So this is little small little things to adopt that habit. So that's what, just a little etiquette for that.
Definitely, definitely. Now, since we started going out, like, as far as I'm concerned, I may want to go out like a number of times. But, like, what do you suggest? Like, how often we should consider going out?
I think it's a very good question. Yeah, I believe that it cannot be a habit like we used to do before. And first of all, the prices have changed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Prices have increased of the restaurant foods, because of the lack of restaurants were not opening. So prices have maybe so you have to see your budget as well. So if you used to be eating every week, going to a restaurant, I mean, try to see your budget as well, right? So how much can you afford, right? And going too many times to different restaurants, maybe you may have a chances of getting contracted with something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe your body may not be suitable right now, because of either you have a COVID or you have a vaccine, right? So body may not
Hmm.
respond to your food, all the food that you used to. A lot of people who have vaccine may have changed your palate taste, or your taste buds have changed. So try not to be more like generic. It used to be before, but I believe it should be more like mindful, and looking at your budget, looking at your health condition, looking at your taste. All of these things can be considered, and then you can make your decision
Yeah.
how often you should go. But again,
Yeah.
if you're traveling, if you're working for a working purposes, and you have no option, then definitely you probably may have to adopt that habit. But again, it's a mindfulness that you should be choosing according to you what you prefer.
Yeah, definitely. And how to select the menu? Basically, like, when we go out, there's such a n number of selections there. So, are there any tips that you can refer, like, we should keep in mind for healthy options?
A very good question, Ria. And I believe you should probably, if you have any confusion while looking at the menu, you can always ask the server, what is the best thing today, and would you suggest that, if you're vegan, you can automatically ask the person what selection you have. If you have vegetarian foods, or you have anything, in less fat food, or 100% vegan food, 100% vegetarian food. So you can ask your server, they can give you selection, they can give you
Mhm.
suggestions. Sometimes you can basically some have modification, some modification of the food, right? For example, if you are eating a tofu, right, they may adopt with this. Some people might eat chicken, but you can compromise that.
So Pratibha, can you suggest some ways, like, how to select menu when we go out? A lot of options, like, it always, it's like confusing. So how to select menu for healthy options?
Very good question, Ria. And selecting a menu is sometimes it is very hard because every restaurants have a different, options they have. And because of the pandemic, they may have changed the options. They may have changed some of the styles that they used to. And some people who are so the best thing to do is that any time when you go to a restaurant, you ask the server, what are the best options
Mhm.
for me based on your lifestyle. For example, if you say I have been a COVID person and I want something which is better for my palate taste, for my taste buds, which is good. What are the soups, things like that. And again, if you're a vegetarian, you need to ask them also what are the vegetarian options you have. And if you're vegan, you need to ask that if you have a vegan options. Sometimes they will offer you vegan as well, even if they don't offer any vegan, kind of recipes, but they can do that for you
Mhm.
as because in menus they may not write everything, right? And if you're a calorie conscious, you should certainly ask them also. Can you ask the person if they have any fat or things like that or not, if this person this is a fried food or not. So try to select based on your lifestyle,
Mhm.
be a little mindful, and if you're eating once in a while, it's okay, but again, don't overload yourself. And especially when you go to a buffet restaurants,
Yeah.
chances are you're going to eat a little more extra because there you don't ask for the menu, but at the same time you're loading yourself because you saw something that you have not eaten for a long time. You will
Yeah.
start like eating that food, and especially fried chicken or pizza or pastas, things like that. So just being mindful, of course, if you're eating very rarely, then it's okay. Sometimes you can get a little more kind of relaxation for that. But again, if you're doing this restaurant food eating on a regular basis, if you're working or away from home, chances are you might do that. But ideally, you should certainly keep the thing in your mind that not to, be more indulgent to it, and choose some option that has good salad or soup or something related to it, which is not very greasy, which is not very heavy duty, things like that. And you like that food also, and you don't have to like punish yourself either. That since you are that pattern, so do a good selection so you can like the food, so you can eat the food, enjoy the food, nothing to worry too much about it.
Definitely, definitely. So as we all know, right? I mean, sometimes we go to restaurants. A lot of restaurants in US I've seen have big portion sizes. Like when I used to compare the portion size of same restaurant chain in UK when I was in UK. So they have a smaller sizes than US. So like sometimes like that confusion comes. How much to order? All right. I
Yes.
mean, so what do you suggest on that thought? Like that how much to order when we go out?
It's a very good question, Ria. If you have a family of 4 or 5 or 6 people, or all your friends are going out together, and if you are all people together, so wise decision based on you. Everybody can order one menu, and you can share that, so that you
Mhm.
can have variety of the food as well. And second thing is that there are so many portions available to choose that accordingly. Sometimes it might be a worthwhile to pay money for the larger size so you can eat one portion there and you can bring one portion home, so you can have second meal that you can bring it home, so you don't have to necessarily eat everything at the restaurant, so you can save money as well. And again, as I said, you can share the food with the other person that you are with. And if especially if you have a children, you can always buy things that you all whole family can share, so that way not only you're saving money, but at the same time you're not overeating. And definitely at the restaurant places, sometimes overeating is not recommended in a sense because you never know how the reactions can happen. So select the menu. Portion control is very good because once you are doing your portion control, definitely you are paying attention to your health as well.
A lot of good information today also, Pratibha. Like going out, definitely want everyone to go out, but there is some rules, I would say, like to follow. and that will give, like, but it will be good for our pocket and good for our stomach. So
Yes.
good tip today also. Thank you, Pratibha. Thanks a lot. It was so nice talking to you as usual. We'll see you guys all again with a amazing new topic next time. Till then, bye.
Thank you, Ria, and thank you, Mana TV International. We'll see you again.